Hey everybody, it's Skyler here from GorsskyVlogs, and as some of you might know, I've been really getting into Dungeons & Dragons lately. And I am bringing a campaign that I wrote myself. I'll be DMing this next Tuesday for my anime and gaming club. So I wanted to make this video to kind of show you all this really awesome tool that I found. It's a JavaScript D&D character generator. It's by pathguy.com, ddnext. It's really cool. It is under construction. It can be a little bit slow at times. Sometimes it even has to be restarted. Whatever the case, it works really well once you kind of get it to work eventually. I would say, just for safety measures, have a Word document open on the side and write down what it is that you're filling into here, just so that you can go back and do it later. I'm not sure if you can enter the stats in yourself. Yes, you can. Okay, awesome. So even if you roll and you go through the stats and it shuts down on you or whatever, you can if you write down the stats on a Word document, you can always go back and fix them, type them in yourself. So I tried to do this a little bit earlier, tried to make a video, and it ended up glitching on me and I had to restart. But basically what I'm going to do in this one is create kind of an elf fighter type. I did an elf rogue recently and I want to try. I love elves. I love the elf race, but I want to do a little bit different class and see what I can do with it. Here's my roll. There are a lot of different options for what you can roll, and the one that'll automatically pull up is the 4d6 best 3. I want everybody that's playing on my campaign to choose 5d6 best 3. That's the setting that's probably best. Then you can go through. It'll automatically roll for you once you choose it. It'll come up with numbers like these. It might not be the same. That's okay. It's a dice roll. It'll be random. Then you can choose which stat falls under that number. So base this on your character. So you kind of have to have a character already conceived in a sense before you choose these stats, because you always play to your character. If you're playing a rogue, you're not going to need super high strength necessarily, unless of course you choose to do so. This is all up to you. There's that possibility. So feel free to look through. You can look through the races, you can look through the backgrounds, classes, etc. Kind of get an idea what kind of character you want right off the bat, and then that way you can kind of plug this stuff in. So I would say start off by writing down these numbers on your Word document and then choosing which of these stats that you want to go through. Completely ignore, I guess that highlights everything, forgot about that. Completely ignore sanity and honor. Those you won't have to worry about. Awesome. So since I'm playing an elf fighter, I'll probably do strength and dexterity as my two 17s. Eventually there we go. And let me go back real quick. If you do have the system glitch on you and you have to restart, sorry, I keep accidentally touching the screen, and you do have to restart, just go down and choose simple entry and you should be able to just fill in your numbers from here. Otherwise, let's see, I'm going to go with strength, dexterity is my two highest. Might go with... I think I'm going to go with intelligence. I played as a child last game, and it was fun. It is fun. I'm still actually playing the campaign for it. But I want to try something a little bit different, make myself a little bit more intelligent. The child was a little bit kind of foolish. Really fun to play as. Anyways, next up I'm going to probably do charisma. And of course each stat means something different. So strength is, I'm capable of lifting this. I can be unmoved by something, stuff like that. It's all makes sense. If you want to look them up, dexterity is like dodging and speed. Constitution is how your will, essentially, to do or not do something. Intelligence is how much you know. Wisdom is how much you know about things like nature or history or religion, etc. Charisma is how well you can talk to people, how well you can make people like you and stuff like that. So next up, I'm going to choose, I'm going to choose wisdom as my next highest, and I will choose constitution as my last highest. There we go. Cool. Now, every time that you're working on something, you'll see this red arrow. The red arrow is basically like that little thing that pops up and tells you this is a required field or something like that. So wherever the red arrow goes, you have to go to that and fill it out. So since I've already filled this out, boom, it shoots down here, and I can click accept these scores. Awesome. So it's got these scores, and it's going to shoot down and tell me I need to choose my race, gender, background, etc. So I'm going to choose an elf. Now, one thing that you might notice is that some of these races are in gray. And it looks like, oh, I won't be able to choose that, which means you'd only be able to choose from human, dwarf, elf, or halfling. This is not the case. Just because it's gray does not mean you can click on it. So feel free to choose any of these races, including these ones down here. So there's a ton of races that you can choose from. If you have a homebrew race, let's see. I'd say find the race that you feel gets you closest to it. If you're using a homebrew, you probably know a little bit more about D&D. You'd probably be able to fill it out on your own. I'm totally fine with that. If you're new to D&D, I'd say stick to something within this area. And we can, once this campaign's over, feel free. We can do another campaign. You can make your own character. Go for it. But for the time being, please try to stick to these. Next up for gender, that's pretty straightforward, male or female. I'm obviously going to choose male since I'm male, but you can feel free to play whichever side you want, as long as you feel like you can play that. Keep in mind, you have to be able to play your character, play the character that you create. If you don't feel like you could play a very outgoing person, that's okay. Choose maybe a shy personality trait, and that'll come later on. I'm just giving you examples. Anyways, further down, we got the background. The background is not your class. The background is where you came from and how you got to where you're at. So, for instance, if the campaign, and it doesn't matter what the campaign is, you can choose your own story and such. Say your character is a barbarian. Maybe they originally were a noble or a knight, and then they turned away, and now they've become a barbarian. Maybe your character was a folk hero that has kind of, not been noticed as much, and nobody cares about him because people have died off that cared about him, like he saved or something. So now he's just kind of this town drunk or something like that. This is just your background. So feel free to choose whatever you want. So maybe for me, since I'm choosing a fighter, oh, and of course, just because these are gray does not mean you can choose it. So I could be a hermit if I wanted to. Let's see. So I'm going to choose a noble knight. That seems fair. It's not a noble knight. It is a noble/knight, sorry. Of course, there's also homebrews here that'll kind of give you the ability to choose something that's not necessarily available up here. And it gives you kind of a basic, like, oh, you will get 1 language and 1 tool, or 2 tools, 0 languages. You always get comments, so don't worry about the languages so much. But yeah, basic gist of it. Down here we have alignment. So alignment basically says what your character is able to do, in a sense. What choices can you make? So a lawful good person means you're, say, a soldier that's working for the king. A lawful good person would not go and kill and brutally murder or commit genocide of an entire village. That would be more chaotic evil, or one of the evils in general. Lawful evil, it sounds a little bit silly, but that doesn't mean that... It sounds silly, but it is actually a legit thing. It essentially means, like, think like a henchman, how they have evil master that they follow. That just doesn't mean that they just lash out and do whatever they want in an evil way. That would be more chaotic evil. Lawful evil says, I have something that I'm working towards, and I will do evil things to get to that. So I'm going to choose chaotic good, which essentially says I do things for myself, but I'm typically going to choose, like, the good decision. It doesn't mean, like, I wouldn't help somebody, but it usually prefer to help benefit me, in a sense. If you are playing the campaign with me, I want everyone to choose level 2. That way it kind of skips over the build-up of level 1, which can take a little bit longer. 2 is just going to add a little bit to your stats, which is actually a good thing, and just kind of help move things a little bit faster within the campaign. If you're not playing with my campaign, you feel free to fill it out however you'd like, or however your DM has specified. So next up, I can accept this person. Awesome. So it saves all my settings, etc. I'm good to go. I'm going to choose fighter. Of course, you can always choose any of these, including the grade, barbarian, bard, cleric, druid, any of these. Feel free to look them up if you don't know what they mean. You can always Google Dungeons & Dragons class cleric if you don't know what it is. Alright, so this is the part that I glitched out on earlier, and we'll see if it actually succeeds. If it doesn't, I'm not really sure what to do. I don't think clicking it multiple times is going to help. If it doesn't, I'm not sure. If you choose certain classes, you can choose different things about them. This will be like an area that you skip since we're not playing as high-level characters. You don't have to worry about it. Down here, if you've chosen one of these races, you can choose kind of a sub-race in a sense. If you're playing as an elf, which I am, I can choose either high elf, wood elf, dark elf, also known as drow, eladrin, etc. These will change a little bit of your stats as well as a couple other things. So, like I said, if you chose one of these stats, feel free to fill in this area. Same goes for your class. There's a couple different options that you can choose. You can choose those. And again, this is more on ranger. Rogues, wizards. Wizards have a familiar. They can choose a familiar. Fighting style for all fighters. What's kind of your proficiency, homebrew background, so you can kind of choose things that you'll get if you do a homebrew. Since this program isn't set to do like any homebrew in existence. Looks like I'm still loading, so I'll just explain through whatever's left. Let's see, next up you're gonna ignore sect. Once you fill out all that stuff, push move on. Alright, now you're gonna choose skills. Now it's gonna give you a set number of skills that you can choose, and you can feel free to choose those, that many. It'll give you skills that I believe you're proficient with a little star. You can choose to add even more to those stats, or choose a little bit of a bonus in other stats. It's all up to you. Each one of these things, it has a specific stat that it falls under, and then it's a bit more specific. So these are kind of like something happens, these are going to be bonuses towards those specific things. So if I said a dexterity saving throw, you're going to roll with your dexterity bonus. If you are attempting to tame an animal, you can use your animal handling bonus on top of your wisdom, etc. Pretty cool stuff. There's this stuff is probably all ignorable, honestly. This is the stuff that you want to focus on over here on the left. Then you can accept these skills. Next up is languages. It'll tell you how many additional languages that you can choose. Oh, I think I finally managed to get through. Awesome, cool. Okay, so I got through. I can finally show you guys how this all works. So again, like I said, you can skip all this. Oh, it just goes straight. Okay, so you can skip all this until you get to whatever race it is that you chose. I am going to play a wood elf. I'm a big fan of wood elves. Eventually it'll click. And again, like just because these are grayed out does not mean that you can't choose them. If you chose a gnome, then you will definitely be able to choose one of these stats. Awesome, cool. Took forever, but that's okay. I can choose one of these. I'm just going to stick with champion because it's like that. Feel free to choose whatever falls under whatever you want to do. There's some really interesting choices in here. Come on, champion. I choose you. There we go. Awesome. So I'm going to move down. All right, fighting style. I like archery, but I think maybe I want to be more of a, no, protection doesn't, I'll go with protection, which means I'm going to protect the other people in my party before I am going to attempt to attack. I'll let them do the attacking, etc. Awesome, cool. So I chose that. Again, homebrew backgrounds you ignore unless you chose a homebrew. The stuff you can ignore. And I can click move on, which hopefully actually moves on. It might take forever like it's been doing. Like I said earlier, this is kind of a program that you're going to have to be patient with. It'll take a little while if you want to open up another tab and watch something, watch this YouTube video or something. Whatever you want to do, watch some of my other videos. That's always an idea. Shameless plug right there. Whatever the case, just let it load. If the little Chrome thing pops up to kill or wait on the page, just wait on the page. It'll eventually load. It just takes a little while. Don't worry. All right. While I'm waiting for that to load, I'll go back down to languages. Now, more than likely, everybody knows Common. I think there might be a couple races that you choose where you might not know Common. I'm not 100% sure. That'd be really awkward to play if you didn't know Common, because essentially the DM is speaking to the players, and he would have to constantly tell, he or she would have to tell another player, hey, you don't know any of this, even though I just told everybody. You don't know it because you don't speak common. So feel free. It should automatically give you common, and then it'll also say, there we go, choose blank number of languages that you additionally want to learn or know. So, you know, depending on what you want your character to kind of have as their background. So maybe obviously I'd know Elvish. Maybe I've gone to school and learned to speak Bullywog or something like that. I can choose that. Or maybe I know Dark Elf Silent because I was taken in by a family of Dark Elves. I don't know. Whatever feels like something you want to test out. And then I can go down here. I can choose my weapons. If you're playing in my campaign, you can feel free to uncheck any of this stuff and leave it blank, and we will figure it out once you come to the campaign. So you can just choose none or uncheck any of your weapons. We can get the weapons, etc. set up once you come to the campaign. We can get all that figured out. Looks like my stats are in. Cool. So I'm just going to quick choose through. And, oh, there we go. Okay, see, as you know, I'm just choosing random stats right now. You can choose as many as you want until it gives you the little red arrow, and that means that you've chosen as many as you're allowed to choose. I'm going to accept these. All right, cool. So like I said, leave the weapons empty. Equipments, leave those empty as well. For the most part, I'm not going to worry too much about that, and you'll pick up whatever's important within the campaign. I really wish this would load faster, but let's see. Later on, you're going to choose kind of more you as a character, what kind of things like you want to look like, what kind of hair color do you have, what kind of eyes colors do you want, etc., etc. This is all where you get to put in your artistic creativity, your personality into your character, which is really fun, really cool. And then you can scroll down here. This is where you get to make your name. You add your name as the player name, etc., etc., etc. Ideals, bonds, flaws, personality. Personality is going to be like, oh, he's a very talkative, very jokester-ish, kind of something like that. Can be long, can be simple. You can stretch this text box out, write as much as you want. Whatever you want to do, you can write it yourself on the character sheets, which I will attach. Oh, there's that message again. Which I will attach as well on the Facebook page. And of course, you can always look one up on the official D&D website. They have free character pages. You can download them, fill them out, etc. Your ideals, that's kind of, I'd say, how you as a character look at the world. What kind of things do you see as important, etc., etc. And I think I should be set for languages. Awesome. So let's see. Native Elvish as well as Common. Awesome. So I know 2 other languages. I'm going to choose Dwarvish and knows 2 languages. Actually, maybe I only get one other one. Do I get one other one? I'm assuming not. It's not letting me choose another one. So whatever the case, it'll pop up the little red arrow when you're out of languages to know. Usually if you're something like a noble or something like that, you'll get more languages. And while we wait for that to load, I'm going to go back down and explain more of this stuff. Awesome. So bonds, what kind of things are you connected to? What kind of things do you fight for? If you are fighting for the king's army, then that means you have that bond to the king and his army, to his ideals, etc. Flaws, pretty straightforward. Maybe you attempt to, maybe you're more of the act before you think about it kind of person. You know, speak before you think. Whatever the saying is, you jump right into a situation before, you know, theorizing, you know, what are the goods and bads that could come of this. Stuff like that. Feel free to fill that out. If you want to fill out more about, kind of more of a background, etc., go for it. Once you're done with all of this, oh, and you can add a title as well, like the Brave. So blank the Brave, blank the Perceptive, etc. That's Totally on you if you want to do that. Or you can just leave it your character name. You don't have to. Once you're done, you can generate the character sheet. One thing that I'll make sure to let you know is, just like the rest of this, it can take a little while for it to load. So when you click generate character sheet, it might take some time. It'll pop up a new tab. Don't worry, it's not some kind of bad thing, etc. Oh, awesome. So it finally went through. It has things checked off. Go back up here, uncheck like a bunch of this stuff. Actually, if you don't want to take the time to do it, that's totally fine. We'll just erase it from the stat sheet, etc. Not a big deal. I can check how I look, etc. Anyway, generate the character sheet. It'll come up with a blank tab. It might look blank for the moment. It's still loading your stats, etc. Don't worry, don't freak out. It will load your stats. So once you've got all this done, you're good to go. Once this loads up, you can copy and paste that entire sheet of stats, etc. Pull up your document. If you've made it through this and you didn't have to erase, I don't know, pull up a new page. You can paste that all on there and save it. That's your character sheet. Oh, there we go. Wait. Once you have that, we can fill it out on a physical character sheet. You'll be ready to go for my campaign for sure. I'll look it over, make sure everything looks right. Looks like you didn't cheat or anything like that, because we don't do that. And then you'll be all set to go. We'll pick out a miniature for you, and you'll have a character. It'd be great. So once this loads, I'm hoping it'll load soon. If it doesn't, that's totally fine. I'm sure you'll all be able to figure it out. But for the most part, this process, that's how you go about it. And then you're good to go. Email me if you're playing my campaign. Email me the characters that you made. If you go to the AJS Club, then you definitely have my email. You should have my email, or text me or something and I'll get it to you. Just copy paste it, save it into a document, attach that document onto the email, you'll be all set. I'd love to be able to show you the outcome of this character, but it's taking a little bit longer to load than usual. Don't try to hit refresh the page or anything like that. It'll ruin the results. Just wait for the JavaScript to finish loading. Otherwise, that should be it, and you'll be all good to go. Awesome. Thank you for watching. This is GorsskyVlogs. I'm Skylar. See you at D&D.